Springfield, Ohio was never meant to be a headline grabber, but with everything that's going down, it might as well be renamed to Crisis Central. The Haitians I grew up with were Fugees fans, bumping to beats by Wyclef and Pras. Fast forward 30 years, and the headlines in Springfield have little to do with Grammy Awards and more with duck head removal and housing crises. Yeah, Springfield residents didn't expect to deal with Haitian duck sauce making, but here we are. Let's paint the picture. Springfield has a population of 60,000, but now they're being overwhelmed by 20,000 Haitian migrants, some of whom are reportedly taking to the local parks, decapitating ducks, and cooking them up right then and there. Ducks in Springfield are experiencing a different kind of head count these days. The locals, they're in shock. During an August 27th City Commission meeting, one resident pointed out they're grabbing ducks, cutting the heads off, and eating them. Another resident claimed on Facebook that her missing cat was found hanging from a tree, butchered like venison. Forget breadcrumbs. Springfield ducks are more concerned with keeping their heads on straight these days. Whether or not every report holds up, the tension in Springfield is palpable, and residents are crying out for help. Diversity is our strength is the greatest lie ever told. When we open the floodgates to people who refuse to assimilate, we end up importing barely human savages who eat house pets as snacks. And trust me, that never ends well. Want more hard-hitting reports like this? Head over to the Middle MAGA YouTube channel and get the full scoop, unfiltered. Subscribe and don't miss out on the truth. Now, what does the city do when 1/3 of its population suddenly comes from out of nowhere? For many of these Haitian migrants, the journey began in their homeland, where political instability, economic hardships, and natural disasters made life unbearable. Initially, many left for places like Brazil and Chile, where they found temporary work. But as economic conditions worsened there and immigration policies tightened, the long trek north began. Migrants often travel through Central America, with many crossing the dangerous Darien Gap, a perilous jungle route between Colombia and Panama. The journey continues through Mexico, where they face more challenges from discrimination from countries smart enough to say no entry here to difficult living conditions. Eventually, they reach the U.S.-Mexico border, where they either cross illegally or seek entry through humanitarian programs. Programs such as the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, a Jewish American organization that provides aid and assistance to refugees worldwide. Our current director of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, served as a member of HIAS's board of directors. If only there were signs! If you think mallard tartar is bad, wait till y'all find out about the voodoo. While we're worrying about the ducks and pets, the real cultural collision might be just around the corner. Once in the U.S., Haitian immigrants look for places offering jobs, often in smaller, less crowded towns where industries like manufacturing and warehousing are in need of workers. That's how they end up in Springfield, drawn by the promise of jobs and the chance for a better life. The city, however, wasn't prepared for this population explosion. The city manager, Brian Heck, didn't mince words. In his letter to Senators Sherrod Brown and Tim Scott, Heck practically begged for federal assistance. Springfield asked Washington for help with the housing crisis, which is like asking a wrecking ball to help with home improvement. They've been trying to address housing needs since 2018 with a housing consortium working on solutions, but the recent surge of illegal immigrants has pushed them to the brink. Since 2019, Springfield added around 1,200 new housing units. But now, the population boom, especially with the Haitian influx, has crushed any chance of stability. Haitian immigrants in the city now number between 15,000 and 20,000, a significant increase considering Springfield's previous population of just under 60,000. So even with 2,000 new homes on the horizon, they're still massively behind. Springfield residents are frustrated not just with the sudden changes in population, but with the resources or lack thereof. And who's going to argue with them when there are reports of people cutting off ducks' heads in broad daylight? In Springfield, you don't go to the park to feed the ducks anymore. You go to warn them. Migrants desperate for food and shelter have turned to Springfield's parks, making use of what they can find. But what's the city's response? Silence, at least for now. Maybe they're too overwhelmed to handle the truth. One local, Glenda Bailey, didn't hold back. They have become the occupiers. They've replaced the population in Springfield. Strong words, but the city's leadership seems to be unable or unwilling to manage the tensions brewing within the community. And let's be real, my parents are immigrants and I accept immigrants, those who actually assimilate into an originalist take of the Constitution. This is something else. Haitians killed the French during the rebellion, killed the mixed race children, then defecated on their new country until it was unlivable. And here they are, starting the process all over again. This isn't just about housing shortages. It's a perfect storm of poor planning, ineffective leadership, and a failure of the federal government to protect American communities. Springfield's ducks were living their best lives until someone decided quack sounded too much like snack. It's no wonder that emotions are high when people's lives are being ended by these changes. The stress has boiled over, as seen last year when a Haitian migrant who didn't even have a valid driver's license crashed into a school bus. That accident killed 11-year-old Aiden Clark and left over 20 students injured. Nothing says welcome to Springfield quite like a migrant with no driver's license turning a school bus ride into an action movie. Clark was thrown from the bus as it rolled, leading to a tragedy that's forever scarred Springfield. And let's not sugarcoat it. The anger and frustration with immigration issues intensified right then and there. Make sure you visit middlemaga.com for all the breaking news on Springfield and other communities facing similar threats. The crash sparked more than just heartbreak. It opened a floodgate of criticism about immigration policy. The bus accident wasn't just an isolated incident. It was a reflection of the problems that Springfield's been battling for the last few years. Residents have seen their local services strained, their safety compromised, and their way of life eroded. And what's Washington doing? Sitting on its hands while Springfield sinks. I hear that Haitians like to snack on more than Heathcliff. Sadly, people will probably be next. This won't likely stop until our country turns back to God. The residents of Springfield aren't just frustrated, they're done. One woman even told city leaders that she can't take it anymore after finding litter and debris from migrants in her yard. Her frustration isn't isolated. The entire community is looking around and wondering what happened to their once peaceful town. Meanwhile, the housing crisis continues to spiral out of control, with city officials warning that without immediate federal funding, Springfield will fall apart. Heck even stated that while the city has done its best to build more housing and provide resources, the sudden influx has stretched them too thin. Springfield's big plan? Keep asking the people who started the fire to help put it out. It's a foolproof system. If your goal is to watch everything burn, before you go, make sure to join the conversation on Middle Discord. We're building a community of truth seekers who won't be silenced. It's like asking the hangman for a handout right before the noose tightens. Springfield keeps looking to the very people preparing their downfall. The only escape is to cut the rope before the floor drops. The truth is, the answer's already in their own community. They've got the power to kick these people out if they stop waiting for help from those holding the rope.
Middle Maga. Middle Maga.